Hi and welcome back to Grade Guide. This revision video on genetics is directed towards students completing the Junior Cycle Science exam as part of the Irish curriculum. Based off the NCCA learning outcomes, 3 points we'll be revising in this video are the difference between inherited and acquired traits, differentiating between chromosomes, DNA, and genes, and recognising the chromosome numbers of different cells. Genetics is the study of inherited traits. Each one of us displays two types of traits, called inherited traits and acquired traits. So what's the difference between these two types of traits we all show? Inherited traits are traits we can't control. We are born with them, passed on to us from our parents. Because we receive these traits from our parents, these traits tend to make us very similar to them. Some traits are common amongst all humans, like having 2 eyes, ears, arms, and legs. But other inherited traits lead to variation or difference amongst humans. Eye colour, hair colour, skin colour, curly hair, or straight hair are all examples of inherited traits. You had no control over your natural hair colour. You were just born with it because you received those genetics from your parents. Acquired traits are traits we learn from experience throughout life. For example, riding a bike is an example of an acquired trait. You weren't born with this ability, you had to learn it throughout life, and you can control how skilled you are at it by practicing. Fluently speaking a language, playing an instrument, your skill level at a particular sport, these are all examples of acquired traits. This topic on genetics concentrates solely on how we get our inherited traits. So for the remainder of the topic, we'll be zoning in on what we have inside our cells that dictate what inherited traits we have. In particular, we'll be looking at the nucleus. So zooming into the cell, we can see that inside the nucleus of our cells are many pairs of structures called chromosomes. Chromosomes are made from long, coiled threads of DNA, and in each nucleus of all our body cells, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes, adding up to a total of 46 chromosomes. But why do we just happen to have 46 of these chromosomes? Well, this is because sperm cells and egg cells both have 23 chromosomes. When these two cells come together at fertilization, so do their chromosomes, leaving the zygote and all subsequent cells with 46 chromosomes. As you can see on screen, each of these 46 chromosomes are in 23 pairs. In each pair, you received 1 chromosome from your father's sperm cell and 1 chromosome from your mother's egg cell. We signify this by labelling chromosomes you received from your father as white and chromosomes you received from your mother as pink. So if you look across all of your chromosomes, both white and pink, exactly half of your genetics came from your father and the other half came from your mother. Let's zoom into one of these chromosome pairs. This is the 15th pair of chromosomes in your nucleus. If you could get a very close-up view of a chromosome, you'd be able to see the long twisted strands of DNA that all of your chromosomes are made from. On each of your chromosomes, there are sections of DNA called genes. Genes are what control our inherited characteristics. We'll highlight some genes on the chromosome 15 you received from your mother. You can see that there are 3 genes highlighted in red on this chromosome. One gene controls your ability to hear, another gene controls your hair colour, while another gene controls your eye colour. At the same location on the corresponding chromosome from your father, you received genes that control the same traits. This means that you have 2 copies for each of your genes. Take the hair colour gene for example. One of these genes came from your mother, and another one came from your father. So if both parents in this case passed on a black-haired gene to their child, naturally this will mean the child will inherit black hair. But what if, for eye colour, the mother passed on a brown-eyed gene and the father passed on a blue-eyed gene? What colour of eyes would the child have then? This is something we'll discuss in our Part 2 video on genetics, when we discuss gene dominancy, carry out genetic crosses, and track inheritance of genes by looking through pedigree charts. Well, that's it for this video on genetics. Make sure you're revised over each of these 3 points in preparation for your exams, and make sure you're familiar with each of these keywords you can see on the screen now. Thanks for watching this grade guide video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to check out our Part 2 genetics video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Best of luck with your revision.